स्वादनम सर्वात्मस्नपनम परम विजयते श्री कृष्ण संकीर्तनम नमः कमलना भाय नमः कमलमालिने नमः कमलपादाय नमस्ते कमलेक्षण यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तद्वं देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। आदरणीय पंडितगण, प्रिय सज्जनों, प्रिय भक्त समुदाय, महानुभाव, विश्वप्रभु पंडित्स, पंडित सत्यानंद महाराज, पंडित नरेंद्र महाराज, other pandits, dearest devotees of the Supreme Lord, the Divine Souls. First, let me say Radhe Radhe to each and everyone, and my pranam, my humblest prostrations to all of you. Welcome to the Sobo village Shiv Mandir in Rousillac. We also want to say a very special welcome to our viewers on Bhakti TV, Facebook, YouTube, etc. Radhe Radhe to all of you also, and my naman, my pranam. A very special thank you to our sponsors tonight, who is making this possible to come live on Bhakti TV. We're going to give a special welcome to all of them. Thank you. Ravi's Hot Pot and Catering of number 65 Orange Grove Road, St. Augustine. Larry Lala and family. Yama's Roti Delight, Level 2, Train City Mall. Point Lisa Steel Product, Docks Engineering. Chase Village Auto Supplies. Rogers Ramdhani Auto Chem. Singh's Doubles of Debe Pinal, The Little Store Limited, Quality Cash and Carry Supermarkets, 3 branches, Gopinath Puja Supplies and Veggie Mat, number 230 Kakandi Road, Felicity, Mickey's Auto Garage, Orangefield, Richard's Sealing Supplies and Installation, and Videsh Drive-In School. A very special thank you to all our sponsors. We thank you very much for the wonderful donation and helping us to go live through Bhakti TV throughout the world. We start tonight with bhajan, a beautiful bhajan written by Jagat Gurutam Shri Kripalu Mahaprabhu. This beautiful bhajan on page 3. O Ma Shama Teri, O Divine Mother, O Shama, the one who surrenders to your lotus feet, Maya ki kaun kahe, Maya pati ghabraye. What to say of Maya? Even the governor of Maya, he is also afraid. Ban charin acharan ko shruti nindat bataraye. The gopis were called Ban charin. They were illiterate and so condemned by the Vedas. But Sahachari kari un sabko nij bhuj bhari uralaye. Even though they were condemned by the Vedas, being forest dwellers, they were all accepted by you with open arms as your friends. तव पद रज पावन को पदमाहु ललचाए. Even Padma, Mahalakshmi, desires the dust of your lotus feet, O Ma Shama. Brajlata vitap bandhano brahmanu man bhaye. Brahma, the creator, he takes the form of a tree, a creeper, etc. in Vrindavan, in the land of Braj, to get the dust of your lotus feet. Teri anukampa te Shiva Gopi bani aaye. By your grace, Shankar Bhagwan was able to take the form of a Gopi and take part in the Maharas. Shiv became Shivani by your grace only. Sanakadik Brahma Gyani Tanulatan Patan Paye. Great Gyanis, Paramhans like Sanak, Sanatan, Sanak Kumar, etc. took the forms of trees, creepers, plants, etc. to get the blessing, to get your blessing, the dust of your lotus feet. Hey Chah Kripalu Meri Teri hi Kehlaye. Kripalu Mahaprabhu says, in the word of a devotee, my only desire is to belong to you forever. Bhule bhatke kabahu tava seva mil jaye. I've been wandering in 8.4 million forms of life. Please allow me to be able to do seva, to serve you. Sing this beautiful bhajan. O Ma Shama Teri Jo Charan Sharan Aaye. O Ma Shama Teri Jo Charan Sharan Aaye. Maya ki kaun kahe मायापति घबराए. माया की कौन कहे मायापति घबराए. बनचरी न आचरण को श्रुति निंदित बतराए. बनचरण आचरण को श्रुति निंदित बतराए. ओ सहचरी करी उन सबको निज भुज भरी उरलाए. Shama Teri Jo Charan Sharan Aaye. O Ma Shama Teri Jo Charan Sharan Aaye. Tav Pad Pa तव पद रज पावन को पदमाहु ललचाए. तव पद रज पावन को पदमाहु ललचाए. ओ तव पद रज पावन को पदमाहु तव पद रज पावन को पदमाहु ललचाए. ओ ब्रजलता विकप बननो ब्रह्माहु मन भाए
ब्रजलता विकप बननो ब्रह्माहु मन भाए
ओ माँ चरण शरण आए
ओ माँ श्यामा तेरी जो चरण शरण आए
तेरी अनुकंपा ते शिव गोपी बनी आए तेरी much volume on the mic, on the drum.
शिव गोपी बने आए
तेरी अनुकंपा ते शिव गोपी बनी आए तेरी
अनुकंपा ते शिव गोपी बने
ओ सनकादि ब्रह्म ज्ञानी तनुलतन पतन पाए
सनकादि ब्रह्म ज्ञानी तनुलतन पतन पाए
ओ माँ श्यामा तेरी जो चरण शरण आए
ओ माँ श्यामा तेरी जो चरण शरण आए
है चाह कृपालु मेरी तेरी ही कहलाए
है चाह कृपालु मेरी
राधे
कहलाए
है चाह कृपालु मेरी तेरी ही कहलाए है
चाह कृपालु मेरी तेरी कहलाए
ओ भूले भटके कब तब सेवा मिल जाए भूले
भटके कब तब सेवा मिल जाए
भूले भटके कब तब सेवा मिल जाए
भूले भटके कब तब सेवा मिल जाए
ओ माँ श्यामा तेरी जो चरण शरण आए
ओ माँ श्यामा तेरी जो चरण शरण आए
की कौन कहे, मायापति घबराए, माया की
कौन कहे, मायापति घबराए।
ओ माँ, राधा कृष्ण भगवान की जय. Request that anyone who plays Majira or Dantal or anything, please come forward, and it helps a lot. बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय. Now try to be attentive and listen very carefully. We are all searching for something. जितने कार्य हम करते हैं, जो भी क्यों करते हैं, इसका कारण क्यों है. Whatever action we perform, no matter how opposite or contradictory it may seem to be, it's all for one thing only. Everything we do is only for one thing. What is the thing? We are hoping to get happiness, Sukh, Anand, bliss. Being eternal fractions of Shri Krishna, we, the Jiv, the soul, Atma, we identify with the body. That's the cause of all our problems. We don't know who we are. But all the scriptures tells us, and all the saints and the scriptures tells us, the Vedas, the Puranas, Mahabharata, Ramayana, every scripture tells us that we are the Jiv, soul, Atma. And the soul is an eternal fraction, path of Shri Krishna. Shri Krishna himself says in Gita, Mamaevansho jiva loke jiva bhutah sanatana. Chapter 15, verse 7, Gita. The individual souls, the Jivatma, Shri Krishna is saying, are eternal parts, fraction of him, Sanatan. Everywhere. And it's a natural law that every part, every fraction has a natural love for the whole and tries to become one with it. All rivers naturally flow to the ocean, being a fraction of the ocean. All flames of fire naturally rises upward, being a fraction of the sun. So it means that we, the individual soul, Jiv, Jivatma, being an eternal fraction of Shri Krishna, naturally loves and wants only Shri Krishna. Loke nahi sa vidyet yona rama manubhrataha. Valmiki Ramayana. Valmiki, that great saint Valmiki ji says, it's impossible, in the Valmiki Ramayana he says, it's impossible to find an individual soul that does not truly love and want God. And who is God? What is God? Raso vai saharasagvam hevayam labdva nandi bhavati. Taittiriya Upanishad, chapter 2, verse 7. The Vedas say, God is Anand, bliss, happiness, ras. Whether we say happiness or we say God, Shri Krishna, These are two names of one and the same entity. And that's why we all want only happiness. But uncountable lifetimes have passed. We, the Jivatma individual souls, never had a beginning. Will never have an end. Ever since God have existed, we have also existed. We have taken birth in human form uncountable times. Every form of life, but also human. And yet we have not found even the tiniest drop of happiness. Even once, even in dream. Some people think that I will find happiness in heaven, Swarg. There's a place called heaven. We've heard about this place where devatas reside, celestial beings, and there's happiness there. We want to go there. Besides Hinduism, almost every religion in the world offers heaven as a fruit, as a reward for the performance of good action, etc. What is most surprising is that we who call ourselves Hindu, Sanatanis, have no idea what this place called heaven is or what happens there. We are praying, we are worshipping to go, we want to go to heaven, worshipping devatas. Bhagwan Krishna says in Gita, Yanti devatan devan pitri yanti pitripataha bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti madhyajino pimam. Chapter 9 verse 25 Gita. Those who worship devatas. Devatas means Agni, the god of fire. Vayu, the god of wind. Kuber, the god of wealth. Indra, the king of heaven, the god of rain, etc. Indraya namaha swaha, Agnaye namaha swaha, etc. Those who worship devatas, they will go to heaven. They'll become devatas. Those who worship the pitris, the ancestors, they'll become pitris, ancestors. Those who worship bhoot, pret, ghosts and spirits will become ghosts and spirits. And those who worship God, the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, will go to Shri Krishna. So we are praying to devatas because we want to go to heaven. And the devatas, what are they praying for? They are praying for this thing we have, human body. Human body. In the Ramayana, there's a famous katha, Sapta Prashna. 7 important questions was asked to Kag Basundaji by Guruji Maharaj. Out of the 7, the first and most important question was, प्रथम ही कहूँ नाथ मति धीरा सब ते दुर्लभ पावन शरीरा जय राम श्री राम Guruji is questioning Kag Basundaji. Prathama hi kahu nath mati dhira sabate durlabh kavana sarira. First of all, he says, Oh Guruji, my strong-minded master, Please tell me, what is the rarest and most difficult birth? The best, but most difficult to attain. Which is the best in the 8.4 million forms of life, the rarest and most difficult? Kag Basundaji answered and said, Nar Tanu samanahi kavani देहि जीव चराचर जाचत जेहि जय राम श्री राम
जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम।
Kagbasundji answers and says, Nar Tanu samanahi kavani hudehi Jiva charachar jachat jehi. There's no form in the 8.4 million forms of life, 84 lakh yoni. There's no form equal to the human form. It is so valuable. Char achar. Animate as well as inanimate beings. All desires birth in the human form. Even devatas. As I said, we are praying to devatas. And what are they doing? Durlabham manusham janma prarthyate tirashairapi. Narad Puran. The devatas are praying to Shri Krishna. Hey Shri Krishna, please, we are begging you, give us birth in the human form. Manusham janma. Give us birth in Manushya Roop, in the human form. We don't want heaven, there's nothing here. Jagat Gurutam Kripalu Mahaprabhu has written a beautiful verse in his Radha Govind Geet. Radhe Radhe Govind Govind Radhe 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 Govind Govind Radhe 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 Govind Govind Radhe 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 Govind Govind Radhe Radhe Govind Govind Radhe 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 Govind Govind Radhe 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 Govind Govind Radhe चाहे स्वर्ग सुख नर चाहे स्वर्ग सुख गोविंद राधे स्वर्ग सुर चाहे नर तनु दिलवा दे
चाहे स्वर्ग सुख गोविंद राधे स्वर्ग सुर चाहे नर तनु दिलवा दे
स्वर्ग सुर चाहे नर तनु दिलवा दे
स्वर्ग सुर चाहे नर तनु दिलवा दे
ओ राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे
हाँ Jagaguru Tam Shri Kripalu Mahaprabhu is saying in his Radha Govind Geet, Nar Chahe Swarg Sukh Govind Radhe और Swarg Sur Chahe Nar Tanu Dilwa de. Nar means human beings, we people. We are desiring to go to heaven. We want to get happiness of heaven. We think there's a great place, this heaven. We want to go to heaven. Swarg Sukh Chahe. And those who are living in heaven, Sur means Devatas. Those who live in heaven. So the Swarg Sur, those Devatas who are living in heaven, what do they? They are praying for? They are begging for what we have, human body. Nar Tanu Dilwa de. They are begging Shri Krishna. Now think about it. We are praying and begging to go to heaven, Swarg, and those who are living in heaven, Devatas, they are begging and praying to get what we have, human body. So what is better? If they are praying for this, it means this is better. Bhagwan Shri Ram says in the Ramayana, बड़े भाग्य मानुष्य तन पावा सुर दुर्लभ सदगंथन गावा जय
राम श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम
हाँ बड़े भाग्य मानुष तन पावा. It is the greatest fortune for the soul. And soul means 8.4 million form, including devatas. It is the greatest fortune for any soul to acquire birth in the human form. Surudurlabh, Sur, I told you, means devatas. They are begging and praying for it and they can't get it. Durlabh. Think about it. And we want to go there. Not only that, how to go to heaven is not an easy thing. There's something we have to do, acquire called punya. Punya, spiritual merit. But to do that in Kali Yuga is not only difficult but impossible. Kag Bhusund ji is saying in the Kali Yuga Mahima of the Ramayana, Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Bolo Ram,
Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Bolo Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Bolo Ram,
Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
एही कलि कालन साधन दूजा जोग न जप तप व्रत मख पूजा बोलो
Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
कलि युग जोगन जाग्य ज्ञाना एक आधार राम गुणगान बोलो राम
Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
बोलो राम
Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
हाँ कल काग भसुंड जी through the grace of the Supreme Lord saw uncountable Kali Yugas, like the age we are living in. He's saying there's a special katha in the Ramayana called the Kali Yuga Mahima. It tells us what happens in the Kali Yuga. It's like the revelation. It tells us what will happen in Kali Yuga. And we've seen a lot of it already. And Kali Yuga is just started. Kali Yuga, the length of Kali Yuga is 432,000 years. Only 5,140 years is gone. So just started. What we have seen is nothing yet. Kagu Suniji is saying in the age of Kali Yuga, this Kali Yuga is so bad. It's so terrible. One cannot do yoga. The yoga doesn't mean yoga. Yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. That is yoga. Jap, tapasya, austerities, brat, fasting, makh, havan, puja. One cannot do in Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga Yoga na Jagya Jnana. In the age of Kali Yuga, these things you cannot do. Too difficult. Yoga, Gyan, Yagya, Dharma, in other words. What to do? Ek Adhar Ram Gun Gana. Just chant the name of the Lord with love. Do bhakti, that's all. That's what's recommended in this age we live in. Nobody listens. It's written very clear in the Ramayana. It's the Kali Yuga. We're not living in Satyuga or Treta Yuga or Dwapar even. Look, to acquire punya, you have to do some yagna, havan, etc. There are conditions for performing that. The Bhagavad Mahapurana says, Dharma sampadyate shadbhi radharmastu viparyayah. Bhagavad Mahapurana, 11 canto, 21st chapter, 15th verse. Shadbhi, 6 condition you have to fulfill. And in Kali Yuga, all impossible. What is the 6 condition? Desh, Kal, Padarth, Karta, Mantra, Vidhi. The 6. Desh, means the place. You're going to do Havan Yagna. Where are you going to do it? Anywhere? No, no, no. The Vedas say it has to be pure. The place you're going to perform that yagna, that havan, nothing wrong should have ever been done there. Yeah, Kalyug. This is Kalyug. Where are you going to find such a place? Kal. The time that you're going to do, it has to be correctly calculated. Very difficult in Kalyug. Padarth. The money, etc., you're going to use for performing that yagna. What kind of money can you use? Any money I have? No. The Vedas say, Shuklam yad dravyam tasmad yagyamiritam ved. Shuklam means pure. The dravya has to be pure. Shuklam yad dravyam tasmad yagyamiritam. Then do yagna. What does pure dhan, pure padarth means? Pure wealth. I'll give you an example. Let's suppose you're supposed to work 8 hours for the government service. You honestly work 8 hours. You don't take any break and try to steal time. Honestly, every day you work 8 hours, honestly. Then when you get paid, whether it's fortnight or monthly or weekly, how much income tax you're supposed to give the government, you take out honestly and give it. You don't try to secretly make little thing here and there to get some more income. Honestly, you give all the income tax. Then whatever remains from that now, you take 10% and give in charity. It's called dashansh. 10% you give in charity. Now what remains? That is shuklam yad dravyam. Is pure dhan, pure. Then you can do yag. Are bhaiya, who's doing that in Kalyug? Huh? Who does in Kalyug? Everybody tries to do lakar patch here, there and everywhere. Huh? This is a Kalyug. Then the samagri, etc., it has to be pure also. Today everything has mixture. Padarth, karta, the purohit, the one performing the yagna, has to have complete knowledge. Perfect knowledge of Sanskrit, number one. And number two, has to be completely honest and selfless. Ooh. What I'm saying is not, this is what is written in Vedas. Completely honest and completely selfless and perfect knowledge in Sanskrit. Karta, the Purohit. Number 5, mantra. The big one. In Sanskrit mantra, in yagna, Sanskrit Ved mantra is used. Ved mantra. Ved mantra means like Swastena Indro Bridhashravaha Swastina Pukha Vishwavedaha Swastina Stariksho Arishtanemi. Ved mantra. If there is in Ved mantra, there's something called Swar. Swar means, not letter, Swar means intonation of the voice. This is Swar. Just raising the voice up or down changes the whole meaning. If there's the slightest mistake in the pronunciation of one Swar, in the Ved mantra, instead of getting benefit, we'll get harm. The Jajman hinasti, the Vedas say, Jajman gets harm. There's a katha in the Vedas. Dushta shabda swarato varnato va. Yatha prayukto nathamarthamaha. Savag vajjam yajamanam hinasti. Yatendra shatu swarato paradhat. A Rakshas wanted to kill Indra. The Rakshas. This katha is in Devi Bhagavad, etc., in Ved also. A Rakshas wanted to kill Indra. So this Rakshas, he caught hold of some rishis and munis and forced them to perform the yagna, a yagna, for killing Indra. And in the yagna there was one mantra, Indra Shatur Vivardhasva. The meaning of this mantra, let the enemy of Indra be victorious, let Indra be destroyed. Now, this Rakshas didn't know Sanskrit. And the rishis and munis, they were the Purohit. They were being forced by the Rakshas, number one. Number two, they were performing a yagna against the one they worship, Indra. So they changed one swar. Not a letter, the words remain the same. They just change a swar and the whole meaning changed. So first, Indra Shatur Vivardhasva. Indra Shatur Vivardhasva. It sound the same? There's a big change. The meaning changed to let Indra be victorious. There is swar, intonation of the voice, and hand movement when you say Ved mantras. There's hand movement and intonation of the voice. So that's a change in one swar. In the beginning, instead of going, they went up first. Indra Shatur Vivardhasva. They went down. Indra Shat. The words remain the same. That's a change in swar. And the Rakshas was killed. While dying, the Rakshas said, Hey Vishnu, ye anyay, this is an injustice. I perform a yagna that Indra should be killed and I am being killed. Bhagwan says, Bhaiya, it is not my fault. What do you mean? Your Purohit, the one you employed to perform the yagna, they change the swar in the mantra. So the meaning changed. So then the Rakshas said, then the Purohit they should get harm. No, the Yajaman gets harm. Yajaman hinasti. The one who is having it performed, he gets harm. They are your Purohit. You got them. Many examples. Manu performed a yagna to have a son. He got a daughter, Illa. Many examples. So, and the last one, Vidhi, number 6, means every mantra, every action you perform in that yagna has to be in accordance, direct 100% accordance to the Vedas. So very difficult, almost impossible in Kali Yuga. Then you can acquire punya, then you will go to heaven. And what happens? We are warned. Bhagwan Sri Ram, he sent to the residents of Ayodhya in the Ramayana. एही तन कर फल विषय न भाई, स्वर्ग हूँ स्वल्प अंत दुखदाई। बोलो राम 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 राजा राम
राम राम, बोलो राम राम राम, राजा राम राम राम।
Bhagwan Shri Ram, Uttarkand of the Ramayana, he's saying to the residents of Ayodhya, Ehi tan kar phal vishay na bhai, swargahu swalpa ant dukhdai. Hey, listen to me carefully, he says. This human body, which is so valuable that even devatas, celestial beings, gods are begging and praying for it, was not given to you to just enjoy the senses, sensual pleasures. Nor was it given to go to heaven, Swarg. Why? Because there is no true happiness in heaven. It's only the happiness of this material world multiplied a number of times. And the worst part, it ends in suffering. Anta dukkhadai. After going to heaven, you're going to suffer. Look, let's understand this thing called heaven. Very few know. There are many heavenly regions. And an extensive evaluation of all the happiness found in the various heavenly regions is given in the Taittiriya Upanishad, the Vedas, 2nd chapter, 8th verse. Dusri Ballika, 8वें अनुवाक. Saisha nandasya mimansa bhavati युवा स्यात् साधु युवाध्यायका अशिष्टो धरिष्टो बलिष्ठो तस्ययं पृथ्वी सर्वा वित्तस्य पूर्णा स्यात् स एको मानुष आनन्दः ते शतं मानुषा आनन्दाः स एको मनुष्य गन्धर्वाणाम् आनन्दः ते शतं मनुष्य गन्धर्वाणाम् आनन्दाः स एको देव गन्धर्वाणाम् आनन्दः ते शतं देव गन्धर्वाणाम् आनन्दाः स एक कह पितृनाम चिरलोक लोकानाम आनंदः ते शतं पितृनाम चिरलोक लोकानाम आनंदः स एको आजान जानाम देवानाम आनंदः ते शतम् आजान जानाम देवानाम आनंदः स एकः कर्म देवानाम देवानाम आनंदः ते शतं कर्म देवानाम देवानाम आनंदः स एको देवानाम आनंदः ते शतं देवानाम आनंदः स एक इंद्रस्यानंदः ते शतं इंद्रस्यानन्दाः स एको बृहस्पतिरानन्दः ते शतं बृहस्पतिरानन्दाः स एकः प्रजापतिरानन्दः ते शतं प्रजापतिरानन्दाः स एको ब्रह्मन् आनन्दः. Taittiriya Upanishad, 2nd chapter, 8th verse. Vedas. What it says? Very long meaning. Supposing there's a young man in the prime of his youth, most strongly built, most energetic, most virtuous. Every quality you can think, just put most to it. Most. Every virtue. Now supposing the wealth of the entire universe, the rule of the entire universe filled with all the wealth and opulence was given to this young man, plus all the subjects are favorable to him. Long ago, in ancient time, in Satyug and Treta Yuga, etc., especially in Satyug, there used to be one king of the whole world. Ambarish, Dhruv, Prahlad, etc. They ruled the whole world, one king. And most time, all the subjects were favorable. Today, there's about 200 countries in the world. There's no more king and queen anymore. There's maybe in England, but they don't have any power. Every country has its own prime minister or president, and not everybody likes them. Not everybody is favorable. Many of them, so many people want to kill them. So one king. And the entire rule of the whole world, filled with all the wealth and opulence, is given to him, and all the subjects are favorable. He would be considered to be the happiest man in the world. The happiness of such a king, multiplied hundreds of times, is equal to the happiness of one Manav Gandharva. It is the lowest heavenly happiness. Gandharva, these are celestial beings. They dance and sing, etc. No one in the world can be equal to them. So Manav Gandharva. The happiness of one Manav Gandharva, multiplied hundreds of times, is equal to the happiness of one Dev Gandharva. A little bit higher. The happiness of one Dev Gandharva, multiplied hundreds of times, is equal to the happiness of one of the Pitris of Pitrilok. There's an abode called Pitrilok, where our ancestors reside. It's a heaven also. The happiness of one of the Pitris of Pitrilok, multiplied hundreds of times, is equal to the happiness of one who is born in heaven as a Devta, Ajana Jadev. The happiness of one Ajana Jadev, multiplied hundreds of times, is equal to the happiness of one Karmadev. The happiness of one Karmadev, multiplied hundreds of times, is equal to the happiness of one Devta, celestial God, celestial being. Agni, the god of fire. Vayu, the god of wind. Kuber, the god of wealth. Devata. The happiness of one Devata, multiplied hundreds of times, is equal to the happiness of Indra. Indra is the king of heaven, the god of rain. The happiness of Indra, multiplied hundreds of times, is equal to the happiness of Brihaspati, the guru, the preceptor of the Devatas. The happiness of Brihaspati, multiplied hundreds of times, is equal to the happiness of Prajapati, father of beings. The happiness of Prajapati, multiplied hundreds of times, is equal to the happiness of Brahma, the creator, the one with the forehead, Brahma. But even in the abode of Brahma, Brahmalok is called Satyalok, there is no true happiness. Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha, Maha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satya. The highest heavenly region, Satyalok, the abode of Brahma. There is no true happiness. Look at it logically. Many of you have gone to school, you have done maths, mathematics. All the happiness we spoke to, we multiply by hundreds, by hundreds, by hundreds. We started with worldly happiness. We know for a fact that there is no happiness, true happiness to be found in any person or object in this material world. Zero. Zero. Zero multiplied by 100, zero. Zero multiplied by 1,000, zero. Zero multiplied by 1,000,000, zero. Zero multiplied by 1,000,000,000,000, zero. No matter how much time you multiply by zero, you will get zero. So there is no true happiness. Bhagavan Krishna says in Gita, Brahma bhuvana ka punaravartino jana mamupijita kaunte punarjanmana vidyate. Chapter 8 verse 16 Gita. All these heavenly regions, Swarg, up to the abode of Brahma, Satyalok, they are destructible. There's a time limit. There's an end. It's not everlasting. And only upon attaining God, Shri Krishna, one does not come back and suffer in this material world. Eternal, supreme happiness. The Vedas say about a person who strives and wants to go to heaven, Listen to what the Vedas say. Avidyaya mantare vartamana swayam dhira panditam manyamana janghanyamana pariyanti mudha andhe naivaniyamana yathandha. Mundak Upanishad, first Mundak, second Kand, 8 mantra. Those people who consider themselves to be educated, very wise, they have gone university, etc. They read the scripture literally and not understanding what is being said in the scripture, they teach others that the way to find happiness is in the material world, in heaven, etc. They are fools, mudha, murk. And those who listen to them and follow them, believe in them, they are also fools. And it's the case of blind leading the blind. Andhe naivaniyamana yathandha. Again the Vedas say, Ishta purtam manamana varishtham nanyat shreyo vedayante pramudha nakasya prishtete suktena bhutvimam lokam hintanam vavishanti. Mundak Upanishad, first Mundak, second Kand, 10th mantra. The Vedas say, those who want to go to heaven, they desire to go to heaven, and they perform actions that they can go to heaven, they're not ordinary fools, but the greatest fool. The word mudha, mudh means fool. And in Sanskrit, when you put the prefix pra before a word, it means the greatest. So pramudha, the greatest fool. Look, understand it this way. Bhagwan Krishna says in Gita, we'll understand what Bhagwan Shri Ram meant when he says, this human body was not, remember what Shri Ram is saying? Ehi tan kar pal vishayana bhai, swargahu swalpa ant dukhadai. That there is no happiness. This human body wasn't given to us to go to heaven, because there is no happiness there. And the worst part, after going to heaven, you're going to suffer. Ant dukhadai. What does it mean? We're going to suffer. We went to heaven, we had a good time. In heaven, there was no old age. There was no physical disease. No disease, no sickness of the body. No COVID. No fever, no flu, no cancer. No kind of physical ailment. All the mental disease, manasik rog, is same in heaven just as here. Everything, greed, anger, jealousy, hatred, lust, everything. Indra, the king of heaven, he got infatuated with a woman of this material world. Imagine heaven. So many, millions of damsels, apsaras, Urvashi, Menaka, Rambha. His own wife, Indira. And yet he got infatuated with a woman of this material world. I mentioned yesterday, we talk about beauty in the world. We say this girl is very beautiful. She won Miss World, Miss Universe. If you take that girl who's won Miss Universe or Miss World, put her to stand, and you bring the lowest heavenly damsel, not big ones like Urvashi and Menaka, etc. Low one, lowest. And put her to stand next to the girl who has won Miss Universe or Miss World, that girl will look like a pig compared to that lowest heavenly damsel. So imagine the kind of woman available to Indra in heaven, and yet he got infatuated with a woman in this material world, destroyed her chastity. Ahilya. You know the Katha in the Ramayana. Many examples like that of Indra. And he's king of heaven. So all the disease of the mind is there. Greed, anger, jealousy, hatred, lust, selfishness, everything. No physical disease, but the mental disease is all there. Their bodies are not like ours. This body we have is made of 5 elements. 5. क्षिति जल पावक गगन समीरा पंच रचित यह अधम शरीरा जय राम श्री राम जय So this body, remember we're not the body, this body belongs to us. It's made of 5 elements. Tusidas he says, Kshiti Jal Pavak Gagana Samira. Kshiti, earth, Jal, water, Pavak, fire, Gagan, space, Samira, wind. Earth, water, fire, air and space. Pancharachit yaha adhama sarira. This very dirty body, human body, very dirty, yet they want it. So their bodies are not like ours. They have heavenly bodies, is untouched by dirt. They don't perspire like us. They don't have to put perfume, spray. You just take a bath and you go outside and the humidity and you perspire. You might smell is all right, but somebody else? We can bear our own if we don't put some spray, etc. Devatas, they don't have to do that. Their body, there's such a beauty and a fragrance naturally in their heavenly bodies. That if the lowest heavenly Devata were to descend and stand in our midst, our senses would be unable to bear the ecstasy, and either we will fall down unconscious or we will fall down dead. They don't suffer from hunger and thirst. Their bodies do not cast shadow, their feet do not touch the ground, etc. Many, many qualities. Too numerous to mention. So, yet having such wonderful heavenly bodies, they desire this human body. This dirty human body. Why? This is a question. Why? And why is Bhagwan Sri Ram says it's going to end in suffering? If you go to heaven, you will enjoy. Yes, you enjoy. It's a place of enjoyment. According to the punya you have performed, how much punya? Remember I told you about punya? And the conditions for acquiring punya, 6. So when we acquire those punya, how much we have acquired will determine which heavenly region we will go to and how long we'll enjoy for. But when we go there, something happens. Bhagwan Shri Krishna says in Gita, Tetam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam kshine punye martyalokam vishanti evam tai dharmanupapanna gatagatam kama kama labhante. Chapter 9 verse 21 Gita. Now 21. Shri Krishna says, when we perform dharma, etc., and we acquire punya, we'll go to heaven through the medium of that punya. But once we start enjoying the pleasures of heaven, something happens. Kshine punya, that punya, which is so difficult to acquire, especially in Kali Yuga, almost impossible. As soon as you start enjoying the pleasures of heaven, that starts destroying. You put money in the bank, a lot of money, $1 million, let's suppose it. And every month, you take out 10,000 to have a party. Today, I was mentioning to someone that when you have religious things and spiritual things, people are so afraid still because of COVID to come to Mandir, etc. So the person mentioned, but if we had a block party, nobody's afraid. You have to have crowd control. Nobody wears masks, nobody cares about it. Oh, they will jump and dance and like there's no tomorrow. We're scared for spiritual things which is going to help us, uplift us. Be scared for that. It's the kind of mentality we have. So you'd withdraw 10,000 every month in this very 10 months. That's the end. Finish. You go to the bank and you make out a withdrawal slip. You give it to the cashier, and the cashier said, "What is this?" Hey, for 10,000. I mean, what is this? A withdrawal slip? The cashier looks and says, "But you don't have any money?" "I don't have any money." "Hey, lady, I deposited $1 million in the bank." "Yes, sir. Here is your deposit. These are your withdrawals. Balance, zero. Zero. Use it up. In the same way, you enjoy in heaven, slowly it's going to finish. As you enjoy. And then when it's finished, what happens? Martyalokam Bishanti will be kicked out. Get out. Punya has become zero. Go back to earth. Go back to the material world. And now, remember, karma has become zero. Punya has become zero. We have nothing to come back here with. We lose this valuable human birth also. The Vedas, that Ved mantra I told you, Mundak Upanishad first, Mundak second kan, 10th mantra. Ishta purtam manyamana varishtham nanya shreyo vedayante pramurhaha nakasya prishtete sukute nubhutimam lokam hinataram vabhishanti hinataram. The Vedas say will be thrown into lower forms of life. Hina yoni. Meaning, will be thrown into lower forms in dog, cat, donkey, worm, tree, grass. Imagine one day you are celebrating in heaven as a devata, enjoying. And next day you are in the body of a worm, a stray dog. Can you imagine the suffering? Such a position of superiority to one of such inferiority. Today somebody is the prime minister, the president of a country, like America. Everybody salutes him. So much respect. Tomorrow he's a beggar. Nobody even looks at him. You know how he's going to feel? We can't even imagine. And there's nothing compared that you were devata one day and next day in the body of a worm or a cat or a donkey or a grass. We have to start all over again. So this is what Bhagwan Shri Ram means in the Ramayana when he says, Anta Dukkhadai. After you go to heaven, you're going to suffer. Sanatan Dharma, those who call ourselves Hindus, Sanatanists, understand what Hindu philosophy, Sanatan philosophy. It doesn't teach us to go to heaven. Everything is there. Our Vedas, our scriptures is like a big grocery, a huge grocery. You walk into this market, this grocery, everything you want you can get. Somebody says, I want to go to hell. I want to go to hell. I don't want to go by... There was an alcoholic, a drunkard. So one day he happened to meet a fakir. Just like in Hinduism, in Islam, drinking alcohol is a great sin. In Hinduism, one of the greatest sin to drink alcohol. Many people don't even know. Mahapap. So the fakir said to this alcoholic, boy, give up this drinking, this alcohol, you will go to hell. It's very bad. So that drunkard said, Huzur, ek prashna puchu, can I ask you something? Puchu. Very few people do righteous actions. Mostly people are doing wrong things. Yes. So it means there are very few people in heaven, in Swarg, in heaven. Yes. It means most people are in hell. Yes. Well, I don't want to go heaven. I'll get bored, very few people. All my friends are in hell, let me go in hell. I want to go hell. I'll meet all my friends. So you want to go hell, do wrong things. You want to go heaven, do righteous actions. You want to go beyond heaven. Do neither good nor bad. You want to come back in this material world, do a mixture of good and bad actions. You want to go beyond this. You want to attain moksha, do neither good nor bad. And you want to go beyond the highest attainment, attain divine love, bhakti. That's all available in the human form. Only in the human form. That's why devatas are praying also for human body. You see, devatas, they're called a bhog yoni. Devatas, animals, birds, insects, all these are bhog yoni. They're enjoying the fruits of the past action. We, the individual soul, we rotate in 8.4 million forms of life. Bhagwan Shri Ram is saying to the residents of Ayodhya, आकर 4,84,योनि भ्रमत यह जीव अविनाशी बोलो जय राम श्री राम
जय जय राम
श्री राम जय राम
जय जय राम
आकर 4,84,000 योनि भ्रमट यह जीव अविनाशी. Bhagwan Shri Ram is saying to the residents of Ayodhya, the Jivatma, the soul, who we are, is avinashi, indestructible, eternal. Never had a beginning, never had an end. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah ajo nityah shashvatoyam purano Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. Chapter 2 verse 20 Gita. Shri Krishna says the individual soul, Jivatma, who we really are, never takes birth, nor does it die. Nor having come into existence does it cease to be, because it is unborn, eternal, and most ancient. It is not destroyed even when the body is destroyed. So avinashi, indestructible. But what happens? Yoni Brahmat. It keeps rotating. Brahmata means rotating in 8.4 million yoni. 84 lakh, 4 lakh. 84 lakh. 84. 84 means 84. 84 lakh. 8.4 million forms of life. But we keep rotating. That is a bhog yoni. According to action, good and bad, we keep rotating. From beginningless time. We have been to heaven. We want to go again, but we have been the uncountable times. Uncountable. Since we, the soul, Atma, is in beginningless, eternal, never had a beginning, will never have an end, it means we have taken birth in human form uncountable times. And we have rotated in 8.4 million forms of life uncountable times. We have been to heaven uncountable times. So this is called a bhog yoni. Besides the human birth, the human form, every other form of life is a bhog yoni. Bhog means they're enjoying the fruits of their past action, good or bad. So the devatas, they're just bhog yoni. They're enjoying the fruits. They did some good action, they became a devata. We, the soul, they also become these devatas, Indra, Kubera, Barun, etc. Shri Krishna says, Yanti devatan devan. Those who pray and worship the devatas will become devatas. Chapter 9, verse 25, Gita. We enjoy, but the actions we perform doesn't bear fruits. Only in the human body we can do purusharth. Purusharth means the actions we perform bears fruits. No other form of life can do purusharth. Katum mayoyam purusharth tasmat katum kurvita. The Vedas say only human beings have the right to perform action that bears fruits. Purusharth. No other form of life. And that's why even devatas, because only in this human birth we can do bhakti, which will take us to Bhagavan. That we never have to come back here in this material world and suffer. Bhagavan Shri Ram says in the Ramayana, Ram, Siya Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Bolo Ram.
Siya Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Bolo Ram, Siya Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Bolo Ram.
Siya Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Oh, जाओ परलोक यहाँ सुख छाऊं, सुनी मम बचन हृदय दृढ़ गाऊं. बोलो राम.
Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
ओ सरल सुखद यह मार्ग भाई, मोरी भक्ति पुराण श्रुति गाय. बोलो राम. सिया राम, जय जय राम. बोलो राम. सिया राम, जय जय राम. बोलो राम. सिया राम.
Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Remember I told you in the beginning, every action we perform in the world is for one thing only. Sukh, Anand, happiness. Here Bhagavan Shri Ram is saying to the residents of Ayodhya, Jao paralok yaha sukh chahu. He says, if whether you want to attain happiness here, yaha, here, and after we leave here, paralok, everlasting happiness. Whether you want to attain happiness here or after you leave here, To suni mama bachana hridaya dil gahu. Listen to my words very deep in your heart. Very firmly listen to it, not carelessly. Sarala sukhada yahamarag bhai. The path to attaining happiness here and after we leave here, he says, is saral, very easy. There's no difficulty, easy, saral. A sukhad, the giver of all happiness. What is the path? Mori bhakti puran shruti gai. Bhakti, the path of love in God, devotion, love for God, which all the Puranas and all the Vedas are glorifying. Only bhakti is the only thing that can give us true happiness, and that's what we have to do. And only human beings can do bhakti. Dog cannot do bhakti, cow cannot do bhakti, cat cannot do bhakti, devta cannot do bhakti. Only human beings, only in the human body. And that's why even devatas are praying that they can come in this form and do bhakti for the Lord, where they can attain that supreme happiness, because there's no true happiness even in heaven. There's a lot more. I just hope I try to make it as simple as possible. I hope we understand that our aim in life is not to go to heaven. There's no true happiness there. The aim is to attain God realization. There's a big difference between Bhagavan, God, whether you call him Ram, Krishna, Shiv, Durga, Bhagavan is God. There's a big difference between God and Devata. Many people don't even understand that. That's the next lecture. What is Bhagavan and what is a Devata? That also we don't understand. Devatas, they live in a place called heaven. This is still in the material world. They have everything like us: greed, anger, jealousy, hatred, lust. Yeah, it's a place of enjoyment, that's all, for a little while. That's not the aim, because after you go there, you're going to suffer. Bhagwan Shri Ram is saying. The Vedas are telling us everywhere. The aim is to do bhakti, only bhakti. And that way we can go to Prabhu, we can attain supreme happiness. There's much more, we'll hear another time. Bole Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai, Srimad Sadguru Sarkar ki jai, Umapati Mahadev ki jai, Radha Rani ki jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Wait. Again, I forgot to mention that also today we are going live. Sorry, Chris Bhai. Is 106.1. We have Chris Bhai with us here, and we have been live on 106.1. We want to thank them also too, and our sponsors. Again, I want to go through the sponsors and thank them very briefly. P. Maharaj Gift Center of 197 Faizabad. Oh, sorry. Looking at the wrong one. Okay. There's some of our sponsors also. But Ravi Hotpot and Catherine of number 65 Orange Grove Road, St. Augustine. Larry Lala and family. Yama's Roti Delight, Level 2 Twin City Mall. Point Lisa Steel Products. Docks Engineering. Chase Village Auto Supplies. Raja Ramdhani Auto Chem. Singh's Doubles, the little store of Debe Pina, the little store limited, Quality Cash and Carry Supermarkets, 3 branches, Gopinath, Puja and Supplies and Vegimat, number 230, Kakandi Road, Felicity, Mickey's Auto Garage, Orangefield, Richard's Sealing Supplies and Installation, and Videsh Drive-In School. We want to thank all of our sponsors very much. Thank, like I said, 106.1 FM, and of course, Bhakti TV. Pandit Satyanand Maharaj, the producer of Bhakti TV, and his team. Well, thank you very much. Bole Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai.